The Minnesota Vikings are currently 3-2, with two not so impressive wins, and then one really impressive win. But that impressive win came against Jake Browning and the Cincinnati Bengals, and as we have seen since then, that is not a functional team. Then we look at, hey, you beat the Bears, but you only looked good for a quarter of that game. And then they beat the Browns, who they had to come back and beat with a rookie quarterback starting. None of their wins have been impressive, and a lot of their losses have been really ugly. Why, you ask? Quarterback play. It's the one thing that's going to hold this Vikings team back this year. And they are currently in a conundrum because they have their guy they want to be the franchise quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. But not only is he hurt, we don't know if he's good yet. And you're currently wasting a year of a great team on a quarterback we don't know if he's ready yet, or if he's even going to return this season. So what do the Vikings do? How can they navigate this season, and what should the goal be for this season for the Minnesota Vikings? Now, to start out, we need to talk about J.J. McCarthy and how he's looked through the 2 games he has played. The answer is horrible for 7 quarters, really good for 1 quarter. But that 1 quarter, it wasn't really him being a prototypical quarterback. It was him running, making splash plays with his legs. And then, I don't know, throwing to this guy named Justin Jefferson who's pretty good. Those were his highlight plays. Other than that, I haven't liked what I've seen from him as just a natural quarterback. I don't really feel like he's been reading defenses all too well. I think he's been holding on to the ball too long, and he's just overall a little panicky back there. He doesn't have the same stacked roster he had at Michigan. At Michigan, they could just steamroll everyone because they had Sunday players all over the field. While Minnesota, yes, they have NFL players, but those NFL players aren't necessarily better than the team they are playing. The Chicago Bears also were missing their top cornerback in that game, and I think we really saw that in the late stages of that game of why the Vikings were able to win. Now, we look at how he looked against the Falcons. Turnovers, holding on the ball too long, rushing throws. He had 1 to 2 good throws where he hit his guy on the money, but other than that, it was bad. And that's not a good thing with this loaded roster. This Vikings team is very talented. This defense is coached by one of the best defense coordinators in the league, and it looks like that on every Sunday they play. They can take over a game and win it close, as we saw with Cleveland, or as we saw how they just completely took over the game against the Bengals, and how they were ultimately able to come back against Chicago Bears. This defense has helped them win, and it's probably the only reason they have 3 wins right now, because the quarterback play has been so poor. So we combine that with a young quarterback and a veteran defense that is going on all cylinders. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Oftentimes we can say, hey, maybe you give your backup a chance, see if he can spark it. Well, we've seen Carson Wentz play, and it hasn't been very good. Yes, have they won 2 of the games he's played? Absolutely. But is he the reason they won it, or is the defense the reason they won it? It's the defense. In the games against the Steelers and Browns in particular, he didn't look good at all. Hard to judge how he looked against the Bengals because they were getting the ball in great field position. They were able just to do whatever they wanted against a poor Bengals defense. But the Steelers and Browns are not poor defenses, and Carson struggled. I know you can look at the box score and be like, well, he put up 300 yards against Steelers. What do you mean he struggled? Pocket awareness and just timing on routes. He cost the Vikings that game. You go back and you watch that final drive against the Steelers. Horrible pocket awareness for a veteran, which is not something you like to see. And it completely just threw off the Vikings drive, and they lost the game. The Browns, they were able to come back and win it. But again, pocket awareness reared its ugly head again with Carson Wentz. He is not comfortable in the pocket. A lot of that can be due to his injury history. He has suffered a lot of injuries, and people don't like to get hurt. You and I do not like to get hurt. If we hurt ourselves in some way, we tend to not do that again. So Carson Wentz is playing quarterback, and he's been hurt many times standing in the pocket, so he's going to be a little panicky. He's going to have some bad pocket awareness because he doesn't want to get hurt again, and it's a basic human nature thing. Now, is his arm still talented? He's got some talent in his arm, no doubt, but you can't trust what's going on in the pocket to be sustainable for an entire season of starting quarterback play, because it's just not. Like I said, he cost them the game against Steelers. Now, maybe that game shouldn't have been closer down the end, but they had a chance to drive down and at least kick the game-tying field goal. They were unable to get across midfield. The Browns, they were able to score, yes, But that's also because he was bailed out by two really talented wide receivers, and Jordan Addison looked phenomenal on that last drive. It wasn't necessarily Carson Wentz dragging the team to victory. It was the offense dragging Carson Wentz down the field to score that touchdown. Now, we don't know how long J.J. McCarthy is going to be out, and there hasn't been a whole lot of reports. Maybe he's done for longer, or maybe he can come back sooner. If J.J. McCarthy comes back sooner, I don't think the Vikings can bench him, and that's because you shatter a young quarterback's confidence. I've seen some people say, well, if he's not ready, he's not ready, you gotta bench him. No, because in today's day and age, the NFL is not for long league. It's always been like that, but it's especially true for quarterbacks nowadays. If there is a sign that you gotta bench him, he can't be coming back on your roster because you're telling your players, we do not have faith in J.J. McCarthy. He is not good enough to lead this team. He's done. And you can't really repair that relationship. Look at the Colts and Anthony Richardson. Look how that's gone since they benched him for Joe Flacco. He's no longer the starting quarterback there, and he's most likely on his way out of Indianapolis. We'd be seeing a very similar situation with the Minnesota Vikings' J.J. McCarthy if that was the case. So I don't necessarily think if he comes back soon, you trade for a guy because you just shatter a top 10 pick's confidence and you have to move off him after only 2 years. Not something you want to do, especially considering he didn't play at all year one. But if he's out longer term, that's when we can maybe make the case that, hey, you can look to make a move for someone. You can go bring a Kirk Cousins back. He's very familiar with the system. He knows how to run it, and he can be effective in the system. Is he the same Kirk Cousins that was there in Minnesota last time? No. His body is not the same. His arm is not the same. You're not getting the exact same Kirk Cousins, but you're at least getting someone that knows the team, knows the system, and can really carry himself in that type of area for the Vikings. Maybe you look at someone else. Maybe you look at Andy Dalton from the Carolina Panthers. I believe Andy Dalton can give you better production than Carson Wentz can. Maybe you go get Russell Wilson from the New York Giants. Russell Wilson is better than modern-day Carson Wentz. There are many options the Vikings could do, and it's very interesting to see how they go about this. But it's really going to determine how long J.J. McCarthy is out. If it's a short-term injury, I do not believe you can make a move for another quarterback without completely shattering his confidence because he is very talented. There's just an issue with what's going on upstairs. He has the arm, yes. He has the running ability, yes, for the modern NFL. But he was very much lucky to be on a stacked Michigan roster that was able to really hide a lot of his deficiencies. That cannot happen in the NFL because the NFL rosters are so much better. If there is an issue reading a defense, a defender is going to pick him off. If there's a little bit of time he's holding the ball too long, the pass rush will get to him. This isn't like you're going with Michigan against New Mexico. This is Michigan versus another Michigan. Two top-level teams that are going to beat each other up and capitalize on each other's mistakes. And J.J. McCarthy's going to have to clean it up, and he's going to have to adjust to the NFL. Can he do it? I don't know. I've not been a big J.J. McCarthy fan. Even his draft year, I was very low on him. I had a third-round grade on him. So when he was picked in the top 10, I thought, well, Vikings will be drafting another quarterback sooner than later. And I still stand by that. But I look at the current situation, and if you want J.J. McCarthy to work, and you want to give him the chance to prove that you were right drafting him top 10, I don't believe you can afford to make a move for another quarterback if he can play this season. Now, can the Vikings still win games even with J.J. McCarthy coming back? Absolutely. This defense is loaded. They can get after the quarterback. They can cause turnovers. They have been playing great football to start out the year. In fact, the highest amount of points they've given up this year is 24 points. And that was to the Bears week 1, which they were able to come back and win, and the Steelers, which they had a chance to win. So even if J.J. McCarthy comes back, I still can see this team vying for a playoff spot because this defense is so talented, and Kevin O'Connell is a great coach. But do I think they're going to do anything in the playoffs? Sadly, no. Especially with a backup offensive line that's just getting wrecked with injuries. I really don't think a young quarterback can overcome all those issues. But the defense will keep them in games, and they will be competitive. They're just going to kind of be like an NFL's Iowa. Really bad offense, but man, that defense can score on you, and it can beat you up. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you liked this video, hit that like button for the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you'd share this, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm just trying to grow this channel each and every day. There will be NFL short videos coming out every single day throughout the NFL season. I'm having a blast. The NFL season is off to a fun start. And if you have any opinions you disagree with me, go down in the comment section. I love seeing everyone's opinions. If you're a diehard Vikings fan, tell me what your thoughts are on J.J. McCarthy and how the Vikings can really survive this season. Whether they have to go get another guy, in your opinion, or if they just ride out with J.J. and see what he is and cut your losses at the end of the year if he's not the guy. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this and have a great day.